Hello and welcome to the orientation video for the 2025 General Assembly. I'm Victor Kim, the Principal Clerk of the General Assembly. I want to thank all of you for your willingness to participate and serve the wider church in this process of discernment and decision-making. As you know, the General Assembly is the highest court of our church, and it is at the Assembly that decisions around the doctrine or the legislation, policies, and overtures and other matters which are brought before the General Assembly are decided upon. You'll be playing a very important role for our denomination in discernment at this year's assembly. And 2025 marks the 150th anniversary of the Presbyterian Church in Canada, and this year's assembly's theme is a future and a hope taken from the prophet Jeremiah. It is really a time of thanksgiving to God for God's faithfulness and to remember and to give thanks for our history, to learn from it when we have drifted from God's ways, to repent where necessary, and also to look forward with hope and possibility to where God may be leading the Presbyterian Church in Canada. So thank you again for your participation in this important work and witness. I want to take this time to share some information with you about where to find the reports and recommendations for the upcoming assembly. All of that information is found on our website, the Presbyterian Church in Canada's website, and you will need a laptop or a tablet to download and read those reports. No paper copies are available. So closer to the beginning of the assembly, there'll be a single PDF file, which will contain all of the reports together in one file. You can click on that and download all of that information on your device and take it with you to the General Assembly for quick reference. It is still a bit of a work in progress. There's still some information that will be continued to be added, so please check back frequently so that you're as up to date about the information as you can be. Let me show you the website and the information here. So you should be seeing the homepage for the Presbyterian Church in Canada, presbyterian.ca. And here under this homepage, you'll see this General Assembly Reports Available link. Click on that and that'll take you to the homepage for the General Assembly, A Future and a Hope, Jeremiah 29:11. Here's our nice new logo for our 150th General Assembly. And then there's some information on this page that you can read as well. The Agenda and Reports link is what we want to talk about here. You click on that and it opens up all of these links, all of these downloadable documents, including the role of the assembly, the preparation information, which I really encourage you to read, the daily schedule, and other important information about ecumenical guests, the 150th celebration program, all of these things. What I want to talk about here are the reports. The reports are all of the different committees that are reporting to the General Assembly. All of these reports are downloadable files. And I want to encourage you to read all of them by clicking on each of these reports, committees. So let me click on the Clerks of Assembly. You click on that, it downloads a PDF file. When you click on that file, it opens up the report of the Clerks of Assembly, for example, and you can read through the entire report and recommendations for the Clerks of Assembly. Okay. So each of these committees has a report. And it's really important that you read this before you come to the General Assembly. There will also be summaries of reports you can read. Currently, we have the English summaries, the French summaries, and the Korean summaries will be uploaded shortly. So read the summaries as well, but please try to read all of the reports. It's really, really important to be fully informed as you come to discern and make decisions at this year's General Assembly. Sometimes you might want to make an amendment to something that you read, a recommendation that you read, or you might want to make an additional motion to the report of a particular committee. If you want to do that, I want you to click on this link called Amendment Additional Motions. This one says sample because this is actually not live yet. You actually can't do this until 48 hours before the General Assembly begins. So sometime on Friday before the General Assembly, this will be live. But right now you can click on it and it'll open up a sample PDF and you can read through this around how to submit either an amendment or an additional motion. Okay, so just read through that carefully. And you'll see here, this says sample, but 48 hours before the assembly, this will be a live page. But for now, I'm just going to click on that and show you what it looks like. So this is what it will look like when it's live. And so this is for amendments and additional motions. Basically, you need to put your name here, your last name, pick your presbytery from the drop-down menu. So all your presbyteries will be listed. Print your email in here, get a seconder, same thing, their presbytery, their email. Then you need to decide what type of motion you're submitting. Is it an amendment to a motion? Is it an amendment to an amendment? Is it an additional motion to a report of a committee? Or is it a motion to refer? So pick the type of motion that you want to submit and click on it. And then here you'll find a whole list of the different committees that are reporting. Find the committee that you want to comment on, and then find the specific recommendation number of that committee report that you want to either amend, or if you want to put in an additional motion, there'll be an option for that as well. So click on that and type that in. And then here under the text of the amendment, we want you to be very, very brief and succinct. Just type in, what is your amendment? What is your additional motion? Don't give us the preamble. Don't give us a whole bunch of context, because you'll have an opportunity to do that when you actually speak to the amendment or to the additional motion. When you're done that, hit the submit button, and our motion coordinators will receive your submission and we'll have it all queued up to present at the General Assembly. Now, what's really important is that when you get to the General Assembly, don't assume that this will automatically pop up when the report and the recommendation that you're interested come before the Assembly. You need to actually get to a microphone and then be recognized by the moderator. And then when you're recognized by the moderator, state your name, Victor Kim from the Presbytery of East Toronto, and moderator, I submitted an amendment for consideration, and the motion coordinators, I'm going to request that they project that amendment. They'll find it and they'll project that amendment that you have submitted for the General Assembly. And at that point, you can speak to the amendment, or you can speak to the new motion, and you can give context and you can give your preamble, and then the Assembly can determine what to do with it. So remember, unless you come to a microphone and are recognized by the moderator, just because you've submitted something doesn't mean that we'll deal with it. In fact, in the course of the Assembly, you might think, actually, I've changed my mind. I don't want to make that amendment because somebody else has said something that makes sense to you and you think it's no longer required. So unless you get to the mic, we won't deal with it. So please remember that. Now we're back. There's other forms that will be available here as well, including forms for withdrawing, and a dissent form will be uploaded shortly as well. Now, all commissioners are expected to attend all of the sittings, all of the sittings of the General Assembly, including on Monday evening at 7 p.m., there will be a 150th anniversary celebration. And you can click on the celebration program right here and download the program. And it tells you basically what's happening on Monday night at 7 o'clock. It's a buffet style reception and bar and musical performances. So all of the commissioners are going to be there. There's going to be wonderful music, and you can see the list of performers and what they're going to be doing. And there'll be an opportunity to have fellowship with one another, to give thanks to God for our history, and to just spend some time talking and socializing and enjoying the gifts that God has blessed us with. There's one other thing that I want to draw your attention to in this video, and that's this link here called Narratives of Hope and Possibility, a summary. So as part of the Assembly Council report, which is here, if you click on that, there is a significant report from the Narratives of Hope and Possibility Working Group, and that's going to be discussed at this year's General Assembly. I'd like to really encourage you to read the Assembly Council report and the full context, because the recommendations stem from that full report. But this summary can help you get a good sense of what's in that report. And if you click on this, it gives you a bit of an accessible summary around the narratives of hope and possibility report of the Assembly Council to the General Assembly. You'll see some comments from the convener of the Assembly Council, Reverend Sherry Inksetter. You'll see comments from the convener of the working group, the Reverend Dr. Jean Morris, and also from the Reverend Dr. Richard Topping, who was a member of the working group, and also at the end from the Reverend Dr. Pat Dutcher-Walls, the moderator of the last General Assembly. Please read through this summary and become familiar with the work of the narratives of hope and possibility. And here you'll see what the proposed recommendations look like at a glance. But the full recommendations and the full report are in the Assembly Council report. It's really important that you read this because we will be having some significant discussions about this at the upcoming General Assembly. If you have other questions about the Assembly, please contact Terry Lee Hamilton. Terry Lee Hamilton, and I'm going to stop sharing here. Yeah, contact Terry Lee Hamilton at thamilton@presbyterian.ca. And that's also on the information link that's on the homepage for the General Assembly. But thamilton@presbyterian.ca with any questions that you may have about the Assembly. I'm really looking forward to welcoming all of you to this very important General Assembly. And I ask that as we approach this assembly, that you keep all of us together in your prayer. If you want any more context about the General Assembly, if you've never been and this is your first one, speak with someone in your congregation or in your presbytery who may have attended a previous assembly to give you a sense of the flavor and the context of what happens at the assembly. But fear not, there are many opportunities to learn, connect, and communicate with other people at the upcoming assembly, including a first-time commissioners orientation breakfast. I just want to encourage you to take advantage of all that the General Assembly has to offer you and be fully participating in this very, very important process. I pray that the God of our past and present and future would help us to be grounded as God's people, of God's future and God's hope. May God be with us as we seek to follow God's guiding as the Presbyterian Church in Canada. Thanks be to God. Take care.